now. But either way, even if you just keep Bosch, you look at their first 7. You brought back Luau Deng. I think bringing back Dwayne Wade is as important to them as any other free agent signing outside of either, Cleveland, Draymond Green, and Golden State. I mean, Miami didn't make the playoffs last year, and I think that what they did to get Wade back and satisfy the first year that I can remember their draft pick actually being a solid draft pick.
Contributor.
Yes. So I'm excited.
It doesn't look like Shabazz.
I
don't know if that was going to work out.
And what was crazy about that is everybody knew whose pick that was.
Right.
Everybody knew whose pick it was. And the guy left, and you stuck with another point guard. And you had Cle Anthony early out there, and you probably lost. His career is probably done because he went to New York where there was no direction, and you're not going to take time away from Carmelo. So, yeah, that's my favorite free agency move was they kept him home.
Well, that's an original list we had from B. And I'm not saying that jokingly. I'm saying, one thing I want to pay me no mind is some critical thinking, unique opinions and takes and whatnot. So, to recap, B. Wood's top 5, we have Indiana, San Antonio, Milwaukee Bucks, Charlotte, and Miami. That's a pretty outstanding list. I mean, you couldn't go wrong. I'm going to go with Cleveland as my number 1. I mean, I'm just mailing it in some ways. LeBron is still unsigned at this point. But I'm going to go with Cleveland because accomplishing what they accomplished with the talent, with the roster that they had going into the NBA Finals, it speaks for itself. I mean, they very easily could have been up 3-0 in that series with a couple of with a better play called at the end of that game 1. But they signed Love kind of quickly, or Love agreed to come back kind of quickly, didn't leave that dangling out there. Shumpert's back. Tristan is probably going to get done. LeBron will come in at some type of 1-year, 2-year deal. There is still there could be a little animus between LeBron and Coach Blatt, but a healthy Kyrie Irving.
For the most part.
We're hopeful. So I just think that Cleveland in the East, with the East still putting a lot of things together, the Herd trying to still fill in gaps and get right, I just think Cleveland is in the best situation because they have was arguably the best player in the league, and they're just bringing everybody back with the exception of J.R. Smith, and that's my number 1. But there is a little bit of news breaking, and we talked about this before we started the show, that Joe Johnson is being pursued by Cleveland. I don't know if that's kind of LeBron looking out there to kind of have another he's out a better option or a more dependable, reliable option than J.R. Smith, but maybe he's looking for that seasoned veteran like he had in Miami with Shuttlesworth.
Oh, Ray Allen.
Ray Allen. So that wouldn't be a bad. I think Joe Johnson's probably not a catch and shoot guy. Then we can close out with that. I've pretty much given you my top 5, which is Chicago, New York Knicks, Dallas, San Antonio, and Cleveland. Looking forward to next year. Is it going to be a factor of LeBron moving away from this offense, the LeBron offense? I mean, does it... I think they can win with or without Joe Johnson. I think they can get back to the finals and possibly win. But is it just this style of basketball, this offensive attack that they have, is that always going to trip LeBron up? I mean, Michael Jordan had to be convinced to play a different type of game. I mean, what's your take on that?
I think a lot of people are devaluing J.R. Smith. Let me not say that I don't think that Cleveland has had a good offseason. I think they've done fine. I think Golden State has had a good offseason, and I still think they are 2 of the top teams in the conferences. My question with Cleveland, I really don't think I care what talent they bring in because of what you just said. It's going to be LeBron ball. And the question is, because I wonder if you even need to go out and get anybody, or do you just put Joe Harris? Is it Joe Harris from Virginia? It's Harris. He was a rookie last year. He's who they drafted last year.
From Cleveland?
Yes. They have a Harris they drafted Harris from Virginia, and when he was at Virginia, the man could shoot from anywhere. He had in-building range. I don't know if he's not close enough to LeBron. When I watched their D-League game last year, he actually won the game, and he dropped like 31 points in the game that I watched. So I don't know if it's about bringing somebody else in or if it's about changing the system with LeBron first. J.R. Smith had some pretty special games in the playoffs. He had some. He's one of those guys that once he hits a shot, the rim gets real big, and they need somebody that can do that. Because right now, the offense just isn't there. And I know people say, "Oh, well, Kevin Love coming back helps," but if Kevin Love's on the court, then you lose the scrappiness of Tristan Thompson. So I like Cleveland, but I just think if you can't change LeBron.
Is Tristan Thompson a $80 million a max player? I mean,
absolutely not.
That's what's disgusting me is that I'm not paying $80 million to a guy who's getting me his signature contribution to the team is 4-5 offensive rebounds. Because to me, if you're going to judge what his effectiveness versus Golden State allowed him to do that so that they could play the type of ball that they wanted to play.
For the 4 or 5 rebounds he gets, the 13 that he can't get, you can bust down the court and he can't guard nobody. And
any time that they tried to run a play through him and call his number, he didn't show me that he had any offensive skills.
Couldn't pass. He can't dribble.
He can't pass.
He can't shoot anywhere. I mean, you watch his shots, his little 3-foot flips. I mean, I'm pretty sure his eyes is closed. I mean, there's no touch. His free throws aren't. I don't know. That's my problem with DeAndre Jordan as well. As you said,
exactly.
DeAndre Jordan needs the other person. Another. I don't know if Parsons has it. Parsons is a solid player. I actually am a big fan.
Yeah,
of Parsons.
I like Parsons.
I don't know if Devin Harris can do it. He's also a guy that's injured a lot. Barea is more of a scorer than he is a distributor.
Right.
So Dirk never been a passing guy. I mean, I don't know. Wesley Matthews really didn't distribute the ball in Portland. It was Lillard's show. So I don't know. Is it Joe Harris? Is that his name?
It was Joe Harris. Why do I remember him playing more? Wasn't he a forward?
He was a small forward at Virginia. Yeah.
Okay.
But he was, I mean, he caught the ball and he lit it up. And why he can't get on the court, it's funny you brought up with Chicago, Doug McDermott. I've been looking all season. I mean, I watched all season waiting for Doug McDermott to get on the court and have an impact. I'm like, this guy was unguardable in college. You had triple teams, you had all sorts of defenses, and he still was dropping 30 points. You know, I just expected him to do something at the NBA level, and maybe this is his year, and I just wonder if he went to that team that doesn't. And I feel like that's why Thibodeau might have gotten moved, because over the course of his 7-8 years there, he never changed nothing. He didn't.
Right.
The players didn't progress. I mean, Jimmy Butler's gotten better, but Jimmy Butler has that natural athleticism and the skill set that'll work in the one-on-one NBA. But a guy like McDermott never got better. You don't use Dunleavy. Dunleavy can come out in the first quarter, and go 5 for 5. And not shoot another shot till the fourth quarter. I mean, you can't. That's unacceptable. And I wonder if that's not why Thibodeau got moved.
I was going to say something about Nick Stauskas, because he's another guy kind of in that McDermott. I'm going to be honest, man. I just think the white guys in the NBA, I just think immediately the question goes to any decent white offensive players, who can he guard? And, you know, Korver's not a great defender.
No.
Not a great rebounder. McDermott did have some solid rebound numbers while at Creighton. Like you said, I watched all season, and that's kind of why I can get disenchanted with the NBA from time to time, because so many of these college players just never turn in anything. I will say one other thing with Tristan Thompson. I'm almost inclined to see what I got in Raheem Christmas as a less expensive piece than Tristan Thompson, and see what Raheem Christmas can give me, because he can get you 2 offensive rebounds. I know he needs to get his size up a little better, but I don't know. I'm just.
I think a lot of guys, depending on who you play with, if you look at all the teams that have that power, that shooting guard, small forward that dominates the shot clock. Almost all these teams find a guy that can come off the bench or a post player that can get that offensive rebound because everybody's shifting at the ball as he attacks the rim with 3 seconds to go on the shot clock. I don't know if it's because Tristan Thompson is some amazing offensive rebounder, or if it's just that he plays in a system where at the last 3 seconds of the clock, everybody is helter-skelter because you got LeBron James going one-on-one trying to go to the rack and everybody's looking at him. So Tristan Thompson slides in. He's a big frame. He gets his hands up. In regards to what you said about the white player in the NBA, that in general, those guys come from schools where the philosophy is not an NBA type philosophy.
No.
You had Adam Morrison. Nothing about their game was NBA philosophy.
No.
You had Duke when they had Kyle Singer, who I've been looking for since he came to the league. Not an NBA philosophy. You had the guy from Bulldogs, probably the best white player in the league right now, in my opinion. Gordon Hayward. Or not Gordon Hayward.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Hayward?
Hayward.
Yeah. He might have been the one guy who had that, give me the ball, I go one-on-one against the team, and he's been the most successful. But the rest of them tend to not play on a system that has, even Wisconsin. That's been the biggest question about Sam Decker, who, in my opinion, if you look at his numbers, he's as athletic and as much of a freak athletically as any of the guys in the draft. But it was all these different questions because he went to a school that didn't have the philosophy. Even Michigan. I mean, Trey Burke, you would have thought he was going to get to the league and do so much more. But at Michigan, they had such a relaxed half court. We shoot threes. We don't really push. We don't go ISO. That's not an NBA type of game. Justice Winslow, when people talk about he came out of nowhere, it's because when they got to the March Madness,
right,
all of a sudden he was getting isolations, he was getting
right,
one-on-ones at the top, he was catching on the wing, he was getting rebounds going coast to coast all season long. That was not Duke's philosophy.
Exactly.
So I really think that with those white players, you kind of don't know how they can switch up to the fast pace of the NBA because, let's face it, a lot of the schools they play for in college are not fast paced.
Well, and the fact that I done messed up with this right here, but anyway, the fact that they don't, they're not these guys aren't coming from the power conferences where we see them. We didn't see McDermott doing that against Duke,
right?
And North Carolina and Indiana, Michigan, Ohio State, and whatnot. So I think that's just part of the problem. But like I said, I root for these guys. I just feel like some of these guys, they have a good basketball IQ, and it's something that can be done there. But like I said, every time it comes up, who can they guard? And that's the part of the thing is when you, maybe I'll end with this. I just look at a dude like Kirk Heinrich. How the hell has he been in the league for 8 years? And I just have never seen Kirk Heinrich really. Coming out of Kansas, he was noted as an athletic guy. But once he got to Chicago, I've really never seen Heinrich have an effective game. I mean, I'm sorry.
But and if you really look back at Kansas back then, though, that conference really wasn't basketball. It wasn't a lot of elite teams that came out of that conference. You had maybe the Iowa States were once every 4 or 5 years. They didn't have back-to-back years. Oklahoma, Blake Griffin was the one-man show, and since he's been gone, they really haven't had anything special. This last year they had a decent team. Kansas State, hit or miss. It's not exactly a conference that pushes out a lot of talent from the bottom teams where they still got NBA prospects on them. I will say Kirk Heinrich got to the NBA and all of a sudden he was average size. He wasn't a big shooting guard, which I think had a big impact on that as well. I don't know. I root for these guys too, and I honestly believe with the NBA, it's as much who drafts you as it is even the best athletes, even some of the best guys, the highest guys on the boards. They go to these teams, and if that guy sitting over there with the clipboard has no knowledge of anything, if he can't, he calls timeouts and you get turnovers, I don't know if it even matters. And that's what happens to a lot of these guys, especially the players that have high IQs.
Last thing I'm going to hit on, I feel like if you listen to as much many different sources as I do, I feel like there's some strong concern about KD